Hey guys, this is a short little presentation that I just want to kind of share a little more specifically this PowerPoint that I had shared previously with you. That is an example of a PowerPoint that would work for your senior projects. So basically, and this has been in the directions since the beginning of the second 9 weeks. But your presentations on March 4th have to include a PowerPoint that has a minimum of 15 slides. Also, those presentations would have to be 9 minutes long, right? And that it would be 9 minutes without the teachers who are evaluating your presentation asking you any questions. So you have to get to the 9 minutes on your own. Okay, so if we just kind of go through these slides one by one, keep in mind that there are certain pieces of information that must be included. Okay, and they are available on the outline that I gave you, they are available on the rubric that I sent out, but I will also recap these throughout the example that I'm using today. So the first slide, it's just a title page. It should have the name of the career and your name on it. Uh, Secondly, you need to have, as a part of this presentation, a description of the career. I would suggest to everybody that if it is a required piece of information, such as career description, that you title that with one of the slides using that title, so that when they are evaluating these, it, not only are you going to say it, but you also, they'll be able to see it on your PowerPoint as well. So career description, again, this is roughly what a PowerPoint slide should look like. You want to stay away from full sentences. It has to be big enough that they'll be able to see it while it's projected onto a screen. And remember, this is not a PowerPoint that you're turning in as a grade. You're using this PowerPoint as a part of your presentation. So it will be projected on one of the smart boards. Okay. This slide, this would be an example of something that's a little bit extra. It's not required to talk about the history of the profession. I chose to include that as a part of my presentation. A quote, that's another extra little, addition to a presentation that could add a nice touch. If you can find a quote that's relevant to your career or that you think is inspiring, something that you think is worth sharing, by all means, you can include that. Okay. Personal qualifications is one of the required items. So again, I'm using that as the title of the slide as well. Uh, okay, this slide, employment options. It's not required, but it's makes sense to talk about what kind of jobs you can get. That is part of the job outlook, but you'll see I have a slide later on that maybe makes that even clearer. Okay, you need to discuss the training, the type of training that you would need. You also need to talk about 2 schools that offer that training. Here's my job outlook slide. Basically, job outlook is what jobs will be available for you. Are you going to have to move? Are you going to be able to stay in Western Pennsylvania? That's different for every job. You can find pretty good information on that in your Source 2 Occupational Outlook Handbook. And I'm going to stop here and I'm going to finish starting with slide 9 on a separate presentation. All right, so check that out as well.